All right. Yes. So let me repeat one last time. The steps in the nitrogen cycle are as such. You have parts of it, which is the plant protein, animal protein, all interacting under bacterial action. Right? So those are the parts. Now let's go through the steps now. Right? Steps. So let me label it steps. So step 1, plant protein eats animal protein. Let's look at the diagram. So we're saying that the plant protein eats animal protein. So here's the plant protein in the soil. Okay? And here is the animal protein that is now eaten and absorbed by nitrogen fixing bacteria and leaves it to the plant to absorb it again. Understand? All right. So that's step 1. Step 2, plant protein as well absorbs nitrates from the decay of animal protein. That's step 2. So first the plant absorbs it, but then it takes in the nitrates from the decay. Okay? All right. Now, so let's look at the animal protein itself. So let's say animal protein now, right, is decayed by bacterial action that turns it into 3 things. Here are the 3 things. Let's list them. Right? We said that it turns into nitrates and nitrites. Remember that? But something is a little bit misunderstanding. When we talk about nitrates and nitrites, right? We have to understand that those things come from something called compounds. And the definition of a compound is just simply multiple things together. So if you have a school compound, you have multiple buildings, multiple different situations happening on that place. It's like a school compound. So if you have a compound in terms of proteins now, you have nitrates and nitrites coming together to forming a compound. And we call that compound now ammonium compounds. Right? Which then gets broken down into nitrites. So it's like you going to the school and you take out a building. You take out the nitrites, and then that nitrites now gets broken down further. So you take out a chair from that building, you get nitrates. So my examples are a little bit exaggerated, but it helps you to form mnemonic devices, and that's what the goal is, to give you scenarios that doesn't even seem real, so that your brain will always remember that unrealistic thing. Right? That's how you form connections, by using mnemonic devices. I'll actually write it down if you want to study it in your own time. Mnemonic devices. So the example I just give you with the houses and the school are all under mnemonic devices, which is essentially where you use impossible. My bad. Let's just highlight it. You use impossible scenarios to make sure your brain will always remember it. So that's how we say the ammonium compound is what? The school. Khalil, the ammonium compound is this. The ammonium compound is like the school compound, right?
Yes, sir.
And the nitrate is like a what? A building, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then we go into that building and pull out a nitrate. So we pull out a chair because we want to sit. So we pull out a chair out of that building. Right? So that's now the steps as to how the animal protein gets broken down into nitrates, which is what the plant needs for its protein. You have that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then let's continue. So now, the second step is that the animal protein decays from two things. It's urea, and it's death. That's a weird thing to say, but you can get the animal protein from two things. So you can say the animal protein is obtained, is obtained from two things. Urea, and where do we say urea comes from?
Urine.
Right. And where this is a dumb question. Where does death come from? Dying. Good. Right. So the animal protein, urea, right, and death come together to make what nitrates can come from. So in essence, the plant always have two possibilities to get nitrates, either from the plant's urine, the animal's urine, or the animal's death. Yeah, there we go. And that is essentially the end of the steps. So let's cover. So do you have all the steps?
I do have all of them.
All right, good. And at the end of class, you're gonna be given now a picture that summarizes everything that we just said. A small little picture. I'll ensure that you get it right at the end of the class.
Not an ugly looking one, right?
No, not the ugly looking ones. I want that basically is way more understandable. Because this one is good, but it doesn't really get the point across. A lot of big words and it's unnecessary. So the one that I'll be giving you, you'll understand it way easier. So just ensure that you look out for it. Right? So what did the nitrogen cycle essentially do? We wanted something. Can you tell me what do you think the nitrogen cycle was trying to get?
Nitrogen, sir.
Right. So we were trying to get some form of nitrogen from the cycle, correct? For the plant to grow. Right? Now, when we get that, so when we obtain that mineral, or we can say that nitrate, there is a cost of producing it. There's a cost of you going to school. There's a cost of you learning, right? You don't get to enjoy, I'm just kidding. But there's cost for everything. And in the case of plants producing nitrates, there is a cost of producing these proteins. All right, so let's write this quick sentence, and then that will be it for today's class. All right, and then you get a little cool question that only you will be getting because you are the one that's here. So everybody else will lose out on this question. Right? Here's a little paragraph for you to write. Okay. All right. When humans want to want to rear animals, they need plants. Okay? This is because, so, like you said, they did food chain. What is it called when an animal only eats plant? Animals. What is it called when animals only eat plants?
A herbivore.
Right? It's because some animals are herbivores. Herbivores. carnivores. There we go. And this is costly for the farmer to maintain and also when that farmer wants to raise animals that are carnivores. So what are carnivores?
Animals that eat meat, sir.
Right. So what say if an animal doesn't just eat plants and they eat only meat, they are called carnivores. So when a farmer is rearing animals that only eat meat, carnivores, right? This is also cost to maintain because carnivores require, right, red meat. So even if they didn't need plants to survive, they still need another source of sustenance, right? In most cases, the animals that carnivores like to eat rely on plants. Understand? So if you have let's say, if you're rearing cows, no, if you're rearing an animal such as a carnivore, right? Most cases than not, the animals that they like to eat plants like cows, goats, and stuff like that. You understand? Okay, so that is why it's costly to produce these type of proteins, right? Okay. Right. So this is basically class over. But you have one question though. Okay. You're gonna read over the notes and look this up on online. Why is beef more costly than soya beans? So you're gonna look back up in the notes where I talk about legumes, right? You're gonna look at why legumes do what it does. Just look at what we said about legumes, and you're gonna tell me now why is the production of beef, the meat, the red meat, cost more than the production of beans, legumes, all right? And that's your assignment, and that will be it for today's class, all right? All right, so let me highlight it for you.
I'll see you tomorrow for maths, sir.
Right, so I'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day and study.
Yes, sir.
All right, take care.
No question, sir. When is the maths test, sir?
The math test will begin next week. It's actually prepared and ready for you guys. It's ready next week.
Next week what, sir? Monday?
The earliest will be Monday. As I said, the exam is ready. It's just for the timetable to come out for the other subjects so I know which day to give it.
I just like what they don't give a timetable, sir.
Well, I'll just do it in the earliest class, which will be Monday. Because the earlier we get the exam out, the better it is for you so I can continue the lessons. Right? So tomorrow class, you'll be getting the topics, but I can actually give you the topics now since you are here, right? So here's the topics. You're going to talk about decimals.
Decimals.
Yeah. How to convert it to different forms, like percentages and fractions.
Yes, sir.
We're going to talk about percentages and fractions as well, how to convert them to different forms. But then the other big part of it is significant figures. Significant figures, rounding decimal, right? And standard form. Understand? All right. So have a good day. Rest well, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right. So remember the question: why is beef more costly to produce than soya beans? All right. Take care, Khalil.